This weekend, Northwestern goes to Duke.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, let's just say this because I'm sure Duke fans would love it. Top 25.
Yeah,
Duke football.
That's right.
They go to number 21 Duke. Carolina is number 20. Not that I'm sure those fan bases are paying attention at all to those sorts of things.
Not at all.
They're back-to-back in the top 25 at the moment.
Not at all.
I want to ask this. With Northwestern coming to Duke, does anyone remember this offseason when Northwestern went through the Pat Fitzgerald scandal / removal that almost immediately Mike Elko was at the top of a whole bunch of lists of potential next Northwestern coaches?
That's right.
And it happened very, very quickly, and it happened very, very loudly. And to Mike Elko's credit, he did the best job he could to kind of tamp down those rumors and say, I don't know why everyone keeps mentioning other jobs. I've always said that I love it here and my family loves it here. And so he did what he had to do. I also ask you this. What do you think he would have said differently if he was considering, right? It's not like he's going to come out in the preseason of Duke football knowing he's going to coach Duke football for the next however many months and say, yeah, next offseason, I'm definitely listening to whatever pitch Northwestern has. But now I'm going to go into that locker room and tell everybody to buy into what I'm saying and try to have success. Like he was a bit of a rock and a hard place there as far as being honest. Now, that's not to say he wasn't being honest. I'm just to say that if that's not how he was thinking, he probably would have been forced to say the same thing.
Y'all just hit up my agent. I'm going to go practice. Y'all hit up my agent, work out the terms. We'll come back later.
So he's doing everything he should be doing, and it's showing.
Yeah.
Duke football is getting better. When he was asked about Northwestern this week, here he talked strictly football. Here's what he said about some of the challenges that team will bring to his team.
I mean, obviously they're a Big Ten team, so they're big and they're physical. They've been able to run the ball really well. Last week in the second half, they got the running game going a little bit. Defensively, they're giving up about 15 points a game. They've been very physical. They're very stout. I think they know the scheme that they're playing very well, and they play it very fast. And so I think, I think they're a big, big challenge for us.
How about this one? And I ask you this honestly. Mm-hmm. Has anyone ever described a Big Ten team as anything other than big and physical?
Hey, Drake May just did it. We played that sound clip yesterday.
He's talking about Minnesota. They're big and physical. Talking about Northwestern. Has anyone ever said, Indiana, they're built on speed, little undersized?
Yeah.
No. It's all 100% reputation at this point. But yes, Northwestern is big and physical.
Yeah, Rutgers, Big Ten football. Let me tell you.
They're
steamroll you. Power running game.
Big
high
Ten
formations.
Football. Speed and elusiveness. No, apparently every Big Ten school only recruits running backs that are 250 pounds and running straight lines.
Yeah.
Linebackers are all wearing neck rolls just because it's the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That's just a pet peeve of mine, right? Every Big Ten team doesn't have the same scouting report, but every time any ACC school plays against a Big Ten team, they describe them as big and physical.
Which is funny because Ohio State has the best wide receivers other than Alabama going into the NFL recently.
Maybe even including Alabama. Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr. will, Garrett Wilson will. They're very good at producing. Terry McLaurin, they're very good at producing wide receivers. So anyway, that's a side pet peeve of mine on a Friday. The little tangent on that one. I'm going to be honest, and Duke fans, I want Duke fans to remember that at the start of this, I pointed out that you were a top 25 program.
Mm-hmm.
From Northwestern's perspective, Mike Elko might be their number one target. From Northwestern's perspective.
Sure.
Okay. Not to say Mike Elko has reciprocated interest, but from Northwestern's perspective, if I were Northwestern, he might be my number one target for a few reasons. He continues to prove. He proved last year, and he's continuing to prove this year that he knows he can have success at a school with academically rigorous standards.
Mm-hmm.
Duke and Northwestern are both. I mean, the schools, right? The ones that are like, it's harder to recruit because we value academics. I don't know why I put that voice on for them, but apparently that's how the smart schools sound.
Oh, yes. Okay. Talk about perception.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, Northwestern is looking like, if you can have success at Duke, your Northwestern is probably saying it's a similar. The challenges are similar to school like Northwestern. Is it apples to apples? No, but the reputations, kind of the cliches would be, yeah. Riley Leonard continues to impress. If I am looking for a school, or if I'm a school that needs a dramatic change and I'm looking for a new head coach, I'm looking for a coach who has a great relationship with a quarterback with multiple years of eligibility left. Remember when USC brought in Lincoln Riley? What happened right after that? Lincoln Riley turned around and said, "Hey, Caleb Williams, I know the drive from Norman, Oklahoma to LA. I can tell you where to stop.
Exactly.
I can tell you which plane to catch, right? Like, follow me." And then he followed him, and then USC had a Heisman Trophy winner, and their program went from, this is UNC kind of, or USC kind of struggling, to they might be in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Northwestern and you're looking to hire a coach, you hire Elko. What do you think the chances are that he might turn around and say, "Hey, Riley, hey, come here. Come here." And then they could go from a school that's looking for a coach to a school that now has a coach and a future NFL quarterback. Again, don't hate the messenger. I'm just saying what I would be thinking if I were Northwestern. And having a coach, having a quarterback that are desirable is a compliment to your program, right? If your assistant coaches aren't routinely being recruited to be head coaches elsewhere, if your head coach isn't routinely being recruited to be a head coach elsewhere, your coaching staff isn't that good. So it's a compliment to your program. And then lastly, Elko does seem like a guy, kind of straight edged, right? The off the field concerns, because Northwestern, they have to be extremely thorough in any kind of background check, based on the reason why their head coach opening is open. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can recall, Elko doesn't have any of those red flags, at least publicly, that would pop up. So if I'm Northwestern, from a Northwestern perspective, Elko is mighty attractive as a candidate. Now you're playing each other this week.
Yeah.
And there's this other phenomena that takes place, which is every year there's a receiver that has on the previous season, like 450 yards receiving, but they get a bigger than expected free agency deal from a team. I'm talking NFL now.
Yeah.
And then you look at it and you're like, oh, the team that signed him, he played in one game, he had 120 yards and a touchdown. He finished the season with 450. But against that team, he had 120 and a touchdown. And then that team overpays for him in free agency because they're like, I saw it. He cooked our best corner. He must be really good.
DJ Chark.
There you go.
With Carolina Panthers, go figure.
There you go. So they already like Elko. But let's say Northwestern goes to Wallace Wade this weekend and Duke rolls them. That might be the thing where it's like, oh, against us, we saw it up close in person. The team was well coached. They were disciplined. They were effective. They were explosive, all because Mike Elko was the one running things. That might be, and they're going like, okay, fine. You already explained all the reasons why they'd be interested. What's the one thing Northwestern has that every AC school wants?
Money.
There you go. Right? They have media rights money. They have the expectation of rising money in Big Ten from all of the deals that are coming down the pipeline. Money. If Duke rolls Northwestern, that might be the thing that pushes Northwestern to make a Godfather offer. Right? It might be, he's our favorite target. We'd like for him to be our guy. Mm-hmm. We'll make a fair offer, and Elko might go, I love Duke, right? I coached at Wake as an assistant for a couple years. Then I went elsewhere, and I just love North Carolina as a whole. I love the Triangle. I love Durham. I want to build something here. I'm going to stay. And then Northwestern goes, oh wait, I remember that game. I remember when we went down there and we played them, and they smoked us. And their coach was everything we want our coach to be, and their team was everything we want our team to be, and their quarterback was everything we want our quarterback to be. Okay, we double our offer. because we have Big Ten money coming in, and we know that's something we have over Duke. So you could love the pine trees, right? You could love the barbecue. You could love the people in Durham. You could love all of that. We got cash, and you've convinced us, right? Because usually, you're not hiring away head coaches from teams that you play, right?
Generally not,
unless it's like a Group of 5 school playing against a Power 5 school, and you're impressed by them. Bet they also won 10 games, right? Like in the rest of their schedule. It's rare to even be in this relationship. So all I'm saying is, pay attention to what happens this weekend and see how it affects how Northwestern moves this offseason.